everybody, welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another adventure here on Orpheus Play. What was going on with my arms? What is this? Anyway, hi, how you doing? My name is Orpheus. I will be your host tonight here with a little bit of murder and mayhem. I'm glad that you're here, wherever you are, whether it's day or night. I'm just glad to see you here. And today we're going to talk about something I've never talked about before on this channel, and that is politics. But wait, don't go anywhere just yet. I'm not going to do the take on it that a lot of people are these days, so kind of stick with me. I think there's a couple of things we want to discuss about this, and I'm not going to get into any partisan stuff. Don't worry about that. We're just going to be talking kind of generally about it, because I think we've got some things that we need to discuss, America. Anyway, so we're in survival mode here in Blade and Sorcery. This is the arena. 3 weapons come out. I choose one, and then I beat the senselessness out of everybody that comes through the door. Grab our first weapon here. This is the Executioner's Sword. Looks rusty. We still get tetanus. Anyway, with our first traditional slow motion kill of the day, here we go. That was deeply unsatisfying. Hold on. What the hell? The gravity guys. There we go. Hi. Yeah. So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, like I said, I wanted to talk about something it's very polarizing here in the world, in the United States especially. If you're one of my overseas friends, someone watching from over in the UK or somewhere else in the world, you might have noticed that politics have gotten a little silly here in the United States lately. And I think we really need to discuss kind of what that is doing to our country, right? Because before all of this started, before the whole, election nonsense started, and I'm not saying like a couple years ago, I mean this time around, where you had one guy and one gal running against each other for the presidency, and just what I've noticed, okay, so if you watch the channel a lot, you'll notice and remember that I am a former journalist. I'm a former journalist and a radio personality. I did a lot of work on the air. I was one of the people that was on the air for my local area during 9/11. 9/11, I had just started working in radio a couple of months, maybe 2 months before that, and I spent 22 hours on the air live covering all of 9/11, just raw footage. It was pretty brutal. But my point there is, being a former journalist, I've noticed that the news has gotten a little silly lately, and that is part of the problem that we're going to be talking about today. The news media has spent a lot of time trying to support or go against one of the candidates, and I think that that's important to discuss, because when you talk about the news, right? When I was growing up, and I'm sure it is the same for a lot of you, the news was this place that you went in order to get the day's information, all right? Seems simple, doesn't it? Well, when I was growing up, and we didn't have all of the internet and all that stuff. Super slow-mo. Whoa! We didn't have the internet and all that, and constant. What was that? Everything went red for a second. What was that? Anyway, we had the nightly news. Okay, there was the newspapers, there was the radio, and there was the nightly news. And every night, you'd tune in at 6:30 or 7 or whenever it was, 5 o'clock for your local news, and you'd get all the stuff that was going on that day. Ha! Take that. You get to know about all the stuff that had happened that day, what might be happening in the coming week, stuff like that. And it was always delivered by somebody who people trusted, right? The great example I always like to use is Walter Cronkite. If you haven't heard of Walter Cronkite, he was one of the most respected news people in history. And there's a reason. Because Walter Cronkite was a man he was a man that every night came on and all he did was just deliver the news. And I know that sounds really, really simple and really, really duh, of course he delivered the news. But when you look at news these days, the news has become this twisted version of what it used to be. And that's sad, because people like me who used to be in the news, or people that are watching that might remember the days before social media stuff. What is that red thing going on? people who remember the days before social media, before all of the, X and Facebook and all that stuff. We remember a time when the news was, you didn't have to go into it thinking that something might be a lie. Okay? You didn't have to go into it with a skeptical eye unless you were watching very specific channels. Like, okay, good example. Fox News. Now, Fox News might seem like, oh, okay, well, they're very, very pro one side. Okay, well, it used to be that Fox News was the place you went if you wanted conservative viewpoints, all right? They did deliver news during the regular day, right? The unbiased, just simple information given to you about something going on. But they had programs that were they're called pundits, okay? They're people that were for or against a certain political idea, and they had their own show, okay? People like Hannity. Hannity and Combs was a great show that gave the idea. Now, Sean Hannity has gotten a little interesting lately, and that's part of the problem. We'll talk about that in a second. But the news used to be the news, right? And like I said, it used to be very clearly defined when there was something on a news program that wasn't quote-unquote news, okay? So what's happened is over the years, multi-billionaires have bought up a lot of the news stations. Now, Rupert Murdoch is a great example. I'm not going to go into all of it, but there are certain people who own large chunks of the news media. And it's, TV stations, news networks, newspapers and magazines, online news sources now. And the problem is that those places have started to begin to build an agenda. And when I say started to build an agenda, I don't mean just recently, okay? This has been going on for quite a while. It's getting worse as we go along. And the problem is people have an agenda in the news now. They want to make sure that their viewpoint is being heard, seen, and understood. And that's a problem. Because when you're doing regular news and you're trying to be someone who is delivering information to people who need it, right? The idea is you should be completely unbiased. You should be delivering information, and that's about it. Okay? Well, why do I keep seeing that red thing? Hold on a second. What is happening here? Options, general, health vignette. No, disabled. Okay. Anyway, so we've gotten to this point where news has become this bastardized version of itself. And the problem is, it's making it so we don't trust what we see anymore. Okay? You tune into the news these days, and you have to go, well, they probably are skewed on a few things, they're probably against this or for this. But these days, they're not even hiding it anymore. There's no more punditry, okay? There's no more there's no more very clear opinions of what's going on. Now, if you are into the news media and watching a little bit here and there, you might kind of know what I'm talking about. There are certain channels, okay, certain news networks that are just very much against some political party or some political person, okay? And when they do that, the problem is they're delivering information to people that may or may not understand that information is not, just pure facts. The whole point of news should be, and we had a code of ethics. I don't know if they follow it anymore. But we had a code of ethics that said your job as a journalist is to deliver unbiased and just plain information. You go out and you gather stuff, you talk to one side of a story, you talk to another side of the story, you go ahead and you get some sound bites from those people, and then you write up a story about, the topic itself. Not write a story trying to convince people of your viewpoint on that story. Unless it's an editorial. The problem is, most news stories these days would have qualified as an editorial back when I was in the news media, okay? And that's kind of bad. Ooh, just like that. That's bad. That's very bad for him. But it's bad because it makes it so, like I said, we don't trust the news media anymore. And so where do people turn to get their news? Well, they go to places like social media. Is this guy still alive? No, it's this guy. They go places like social media in order to get that information. And the problem with social media, I'm sure if you're someone who spends a lot of time on social media, it's very much an echo chamber. And if you don't know what an echo chamber is, it is when you are surrounded by friends, family, acquaintances, or even groups, like on Discord or on X or whatever, that kind of mirror your thoughts, okay? They mirror the opinions that you have, they mirror the information that you believe is true, they take care of all of that, and you just keep getting fed that information because social media works on an algorithm, just like YouTube works on an algorithm that is extremely confusing sometimes, but they work on an algorithm. And so what they do is they analyze the accounts that you follow, the kind of stories that you interact with, the people you interact with, and how you interact with them. And what it does is it starts to build a profile of what your preferences are, okay? And because of that, it'll start feeding you more stuff that you like so that you stay engaged with the app or with the social media network or wherever. Well, so what that does is it creates a place where if you're not getting your news and information from diverse sources, from a lot of different places, nice shot. If you're not getting your information from a bunch of different places, then you're going to get one part of the story, and that's the problem, okay? With this election cycle that just went past, we're still a little bit in it until, January. The thing is, the news media has tried to paint both sides, okay? Not just one side. It's not just guilty on one side here. Both sides have been portrayed as these existential threats to America, to life and liberty and free speech and democracy and all of that. Now, if you think I'm talking about one specific side, I'm not. That's the problem here, and that's why it's easy to talk about like this in this context. Because I don't have to say one side or the other. I don't have to mention them. There's no reason to talk about it, who they are. The point is, both sides have been portrayed as these evil entities, these people that are going to ruin your life. And the problem is, the news media has made it so much worse by making people afraid. Not just paranoid, right? It used to be when you had information that you would get from someone. And let's use, I don't know, when you see a news story or a news headline that says asteroid, heading towards Earth, right? Of course you know that article is just going to say like something the size of a Volkswagen might be getting close to us at some point, but it's not really going to be all that dangerous, That's the thing. That's news. That's information. But it's not the kind that gets you to think about things, right? And what they're trying to do is make it so you'll come back to their site, right? You'll get more information. But the partisan nature of it makes people not just paranoid, like I said. It makes them afraid. And that's why you've seen a lot of the reactions that you're seeing in society right now with people freaking out on both sides, okay? It doesn't matter what side you're on in this little, debate that's going on. Or the partisanship, right? What side you're rooting for, or who you decided was your candidate, or whatever. That doesn't matter. What matters is the media made an effort over the last several years to portray either side in certain ways to influence the way that you feel about those candidates, okay? That's not what the news is for. That's not what the news media is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you think. Okay? It's supposed to present information and make you sit down and think about the candidates. Okay? You look at one side's platform, you look at the other side's platform, you decide which one fits better with your life, and that's the way you vote. Well, recently, that's not how it's going, is it? It's the point where you learn that one side's going to destroy America this way, and one side's going to destroy America that way. You just got to choose the way that you want America to be destroyed. Well, the problem is, that's not really how it's going. We all think that things are just so catastrophic because someone won or someone lost, or this race got decided this way in this state and that race got decided a different way, and oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I'm going to share a little secret with you. When it comes to your life, okay, very few things that happen in politics are really going to affect you most of the time, okay? Now, I'm not going to talk about this time around what is going to happen, but there are some people that can fundamentally change the way that our country works. And this time around, let's admit it, folks, both sides had their own vision of what that reforming of America would look like. Okay? The problem is, the news media didn't just put it that way. The news media put it like, okay, well, here's catastrophe A if you vote this way. Here's catastrophe B if you vote this way. Yeah, you're screwed pretty much either way, and that's how it's going to work. Well, that leaves people either really depressed, really scared, or really, really angry. And that's what you're seeing in society today. And that's what I think we need to work on, okay? Because divisiveness and division, which is what the news media have been thriving on for the last several years, is not the way to go, okay? I have political opinions, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. I choose not to share them on this channel because I'm here to entertain. Okay? I'm not here to be controversial. I'm not here to start fights. I'm not here to make you mad or make you want to tune away or anything. I am the kind of person that is generally very nonpartisan. I don't take a side. And the reason is, my life isn't really going to be affected very much by who the person in the White House is. Now, this time around, that may not be the case, but I want you to remember something. Okay? I'm going to leave you with this thought before we go. Your life will go on. Your sensibility will go on. Your values will stay the same. You as a person will stay the same. And if you look at this as a catastrophe that is happening to our world, you're probably taking it a little too seriously. That's the one thing that I've seen these days lately with all of this. People are taking this stuff way too seriously. Okay? Your life's gonna be fine. You're still gonna be able to go down to the store and get whatever you want from the store. You're still gonna be able to buy a car if you want to buy a car. It'll just maybe be a little different than what it was before. Okay? But your life isn't going to be completely altered inexorably. You're not going to have, the rest of your life to ponder the horrible mistakes made. Just chill. Everybody needs to chill. Everyone needs to just get down and relax and remember that your fellow people around you are not your enemy. They're not your enemy. They want the best for their lives too, just like you do. They just might have a different opinion on how to get there. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we'll leave you with that thought today. You are a wonderful person that has your own opinions, your own thoughts, and they are very, very valid. So we went somewhere a little different, not really comedy today, but a little bit something thoughtful for you to remember as we go on here in life with the new things going on, everything different in life. Just remember, it's all going to stay the same for you pretty much all the time. And that's okay. Anyway, we'll see you next time here on Orpheus Plays. Be good, do good, and continue to do good. Be well, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying at the end of these. Anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Bye!